Hey guys, today bring video. Today I'm going to show you guys deck analysis for the YCS Sydney first place deck profile. So a lot of you guys, when you watch like other deck profiles, of course, that like talk the YCSs, but like usually they don't really go in depth sometimes of the card choices. But I'm here to do that for you guys, as well as the fact that it's just sometimes in events it's kind of hard. Like you see in some profiles, like both the times Dinka Bull, I think his name is, he got both times he got a deck profile recently, the Prank Kids and the BA one. It was really rushed because they don't have much time. So I'm gonna try breaking this down for you guys from what I think they're thinking about our deck, as I believe I have a pretty decent amount of knowledge about Yu-Gi-Oh. So first of all, we're just gonna analyze the main deck. So this ratio of Altergeist monsters is pretty much standard to what every Altergeist deck you would see. Some people cut the Conquerry, but that's about it. For hand traps, they usually use triple Ash and triple Impermanence, and that's it really. They never really want to get any more because they want to be able to use more traps, of course, for just what Altergeist game plan is, which is resolving Multifaker. And if you run too many hand traps, then there are scenarios where you'll end up not having a trap to be able to resolve Multifaker. So that's why people only use D6 standards, because Impermanence is a must, and Ash Blossom is just the most consistent one. So in terms of extenders, they use either triple desires or two desires and one upstart. And the guy who won is using triple desires, and I think I have a reason. No, like I know the reason why he used it. And then the trap ratio for the other guys' cards, two protocol, one manifestation, and triple spoofing, also standard. And then triple village, also standard. The 5 solemns are standard as well, and as well as the Imperial Order. But he opted to play Rivalry and one Terraforming, of course. So these are like the 4 tech cards. You guys might think, oh, he just wants to get Village faster or be able to resolve Rivalry, but normally you only see 2 actually in the deck. So I'm going to try to explain to you guys what he was doing. So he ran triple desires because he wants to be able to draw either Rivalry or Village, but Village is usually the better one. And just being able to draw those cards is pretty much game, and I'll explain the game plan. So all you guys are wondering why he's using triple rivalry. Now you guys could say, oh, it's just because he has triple desires, but it's actually because he wants to drop more, or of course, which is kind of obvious, but isn't this card weak against Thunder Dragons? Well, let me tell you that, yeah, it is. It doesn't do anything to Thunder Dragons unless on one condition you have this card or Village set up, and this is your 4th copy of Village. So I think you guys are starting to see what I'm talking about. When they have Village up, that means they can't really do much of their combos. So they have to usually out it with Phoenix, but they can't make Phoenix if Rivalry is up. So that's kind of like the process that he did. He wanted to be able to just draw Rivalry in Village, or just one of them. He has 4 copies of Village because of that purpose. And the reason why he's using the Terraforming to fetch Village instead of Metaverse was because Metaverse can actually be interrupted while Terraforming just gets hit by Hand Trap. So overall, this is like, you can't resolve Multifaker off this, but it's much more diverse going first because of how it can get interrupted less. So that's kind of like my in depth about why I think he picked the Terraforming and the triple rivalry, as well as the triple desires, because normally they play 2 desires and 1 upstart. You rarely see them do run triple desires, but if it is, I think I found out the reason why. So for the extra deck, they have a lot of Cherries targets. So Saryusha, Prank Kids, Curious, Isolde, and We Witch are all the cherry targets, I believe. And Saryusha's for the FTKs, for Prank Kids because like it blows up all the back row. Curious is for Danger / the Danger Thunder Dragon deck that was actually pretty popular. And Isolde obviously for Rongo. I can't remember what Which was for, but basically, what I'm actually curious curious, yeah. What I'm actually finding really intriguing is that I never really understood why the guys players play triple Hextia. And like some of you guys might think that I'm like crazy or something because it's in every deck, but the thing is you never really summon deferred Hextia. Maybe in your mirror match. Not too sure. But Ultra guys never really access the extra deck too often unless they're making Link Rebo and sometimes Clara. Because that's why people are like always saying that the new Pot of Indulgence card is going to be really good with Ultra guys because they don't really access the extra deck too often. So the extra deck does look pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie. I think he doesn't really have anything going. I mean, I guess he's just banking on drawing hand chest, but going second against Rongo, and as well as just playing against Sky Striker. I'm assuming that like he didn't use cherry targets for Sky Striker because he was that confident in just the 5 villages in the rivalries. And Borload is also so here's the misconception is that you can actually just like use Borload and beat down your opponent if they're using Finder Dragons. That's not actually true. They can actually out it pretty easily with Titan as long as they drew all the Matrix, but that's only if they're going first. If your Borload is, however, is just like it is game and later in the grind game. So like you have to be able to survive long enough to make him first, because if you summon him too early, he'll probably get outed. Next, triple Pancatrops. Pretty good, like really good against the grind decks that are also in the game. Lancia, obviously, for Rongo or Thunder Dragon. It's probably the best hand trap of this format right now. Cherries, of course, for the targets evenly against True Dracos and Ultra guys. Even though like True Dracos aren't really used this meta, but True Dracos are a very good deck that against Ultra guys. Like they do very, very well against Ultra guys. In Mind Crush, what I'm seeing a lot of people do now is that when a guys player gets Mind Crush, they would actually they would use it to call evenly if they see their opponent call Battle Phase. So that's why he doesn't run the reboots, because he has this instead. Because it can out multiple evenlies and like it doesn't cost life points. It doesn't give your opponent an extra trap card, you know. So that's it for the deck analysis. It's pretty standard, but I think the theory behind the 5 copies of Village and the triple rivalry was probably what he was going for. I'm not too sure, but I think that's the most logical reason, because that's what I would think he would do to win the YCS, of course. It does sound very effective after all. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's go and say out. Peace.